we can find a way to not only defend Israel, but to affirm the values that the Israeli people stand for. Values that I said in my speech, to me, must be affirmed. I go around speaking in synagogues and Jewish audiences all the time. And one of the refrains I use, Shmuley's tired of hearing this speech, but I often end my speech by saying over and over again, be Jewish. And then I give examples of what Judaism stands for. Be Jewish. And I give examples of Jewish leaders of the past. Be Jewish, calling on Jewish people to live their ideals and values, to not shrink from who they are, as I said earlier, but to have the courage to be Jewish. And this was the final moment, the story I didn't tell, which was one of my favorite vignettes from the end of my Oxford career, when Shmuley, me, and Ezra Benson's grandson, for those of you who do not study Mormonism, Ezra Benson was the head of the Mormon church. His grandson is a guy named Mike Benson, who was a member of the Oxford L'Chaim Society. And so here you have two guys who don't drink, the Mormon for obvious reasons, and me as well. Teetotal. Shmuley, however, has one of the highest alcohol tolerances ever. So here it is, I think it might have been a Purim celebration. And he, me, and the Mormon, it sounds like a joke, a black guy, a Mormon, and a rabbi. We're sitting at the end of a Purim party. But the three of us are now sitting there, the only people conscious at this point. And this very poignant moment happens where Mike Benson, who struggled in Oxford in an environment that is not about Mormonism either, and he said to me, look, Mike, he said, Shmuley, 2 years I've been here, I've watched you, I've been around you. Your courageous, unapologetic Jewishness, your faith, you have made me a better Mormon. Imagine that. By Shmuley fearlessly being who he was, this Mormon says, you've made me a better Mormon. And then Shmuley, in kind, turns to him and says, Mike, being around you and hearing you speak in our L'Chaim society and talk so passionately about value-based living, he goes, you have made me a better Jew. And then I turn to the two of them because I can't be left out. And I look at Shmuley and I said, Shmuley, I've been here for 2 years. My first Friday night here, I came looking for a date. And now I've spent just about every Friday night in Oxford here. And I want to tell you this, you've done nothing for my love life. So here we are in this troubled time. And I am a prisoner of hope. And I'm a big believer that if we as a people stand up and just unleash our essence, and this is the truth, we must first look at ourselves and what am I doing? How much more can I be doing? What else can I be doing? Because if you do the same things you did yesterday, you're going to get the same results as you had today. And in Newark, we're making that difference. We're having people do things that they didn't do before. And the theme of community, in the Jewish sense, is the most powerful theme there must be. I spoke to an audience in Memphis, Tennessee last week. 900 people, leaders. I didn't know Memphis had two mayors. They have a mayor of Memphis City, a mayor of Memphis County. All of them were there. And the first thing I did was try to bring this American ideal, this African American ideal, this Jewish ideal of community to them. And I said, everybody in this room, on the count of 3, I want you to point north. I said, be careful, don't smack somebody sitting next to you. So the count of 3, raise your hands and point north. And I said, 1, 2, 3. And everybody raised their hands, pointed north, and then everybody started laughing. Because for every person, there was a different direction being pointed. And I said, this is the issue. That unless we all not only can articulate in eloquent fashion that we want to go north, but find a way to get everybody moving, pushing, pulling in the same direction, that's where you have transformative change. That's one of the secrets we're doing in Newark, and that's what I believe is missing. I am so tired of politics in the United States, of the worst of the kind, this divisive nature, this sense that we have to one-up the other person. In cities all around America, something different is happening. You have Democrat, Republican mayors all coming together around issues that we can all agree on. Pick your most controversial issue. Gun control, for example. Wow, what a left-right issue, isn't it? Nonsense. We mayors in America, thanks to mayors like Mayor Bloomberg, said, well, let's find the space that will make a big difference. Not the stuff that we will all argue about to the day we die, but what about these laws that just we know we should have in America? In fact, Bloomberg, I used to say we do the poll. He paid for it. I'll take credit for it. We poll gun owners in the United States. 90 to 100% of gun owners agree with simple things. Like we have no-fly lists. Somebody suspected of being a terrorist, they can't get on a plane. Well, you know what, in America? If you're on a no-fly list, you may not be able to go on a plane, but you can go to your local gun dealer and buy a trunk full of weapons and then drive away with it. That's crazy. Majority of gun owners agree with that. We know in America that you have to do background checks for guns. And if you fail to do background checks, a gun retailer could be shut down. Well, in America right now, if your gun retailer is shut down for not doing background checks, they can take their entire inventory and sell it to whoever they want without doing a background check. These are so many things that we mayors on Law 95 know fuel the guns coming up in our neighborhoods. We all agree with them, right-left coalition. Why aren't we moving forward? There's enough that we agree on, especially if you come down to value-based ideas of leadership, that if we who are proponents of those ideas begin living them courageously, unapologetically, then we're going to move this nation forward. I have said it on the stage, and I say it in a smaller room, I am so enamored and touched. In fact, almost as a prophetic way, my Christian mentor at Stanford said to me, you can never be a good Christian, Cory, until you fully study Judaism. And it was 2 years before I went off and met Shmuley. The Jewish faith has a calling, has a powerful calling that is so yearned for in this world. And unless individual Jews begin to stand up and manifest their values more, not with words, but manifest their values in the most powerful way that I've seen Judaism in my life, and has touched me, then we're never going to achieve the greatness and the goodliness and the godliness that we seek. So this conference here, I want to say thank you, and I want to challenge you. I want to say thank you for doing what you're doing. AIPAC is an essential institution, but I really want to challenge you not to in any way hesitate, equivocate, or shrink from proclaiming with every ounce of your being, with every fiber of your spirit, proclaiming who a Jew is in this globe and the mission that Judaism has. It's been a calling of the people of the Jewish faith since the time of Abraham. Thank you.
Thank you.
On a personal level, clearly you're a rising political star. How do you maintain an equilibrium? How do you, for instance, balance ambition with humility? How do you, let's say, avoid believing every press clipping that comes around your way? I mean, it's go hard. I mean, politician, people, hero worship. What do you
First of all, I judge the closest of my friends by how much they make fun of me. And people like Shmuley take me down a notch. And I joke all the time with my staff. I often play things. Will somebody give me one yes person on my staff? Because I have people like Barry Mattis who are constantly, again, another older sister, not Jewish brother, older sister. Maybe it's 6 months older. Look, essential to the quote I get from Micah, walk humbly with your Lord. Essential to leadership is humility. And the greatest leaders from the Bible were the humble individuals. Even Moses, the humility spoke for itself. So I know I'm not the smartest politician out there. The best thing that ever I had, I joke with my parents about this, going to Stanford, Oxford, Yale, being a Rhodes Scholar, it made me realize that these people who proclaim to be really smart ain't so smart. And you can find a guy at City University in New York 10 times smarter who just didn't have the opportunities to go to Oxford. So I know I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I know I'm not definitely not the best looking or what have you. But I do know I'm an imperfect person called to a perfect mission. And I think that we all are called to that perfect mission. And I try to keep myself grounded in that and grounded in faith.
Who else has questions?
Yes, sir.
First off, Mayor, thank you very much for being here. We greatly appreciate your presentation. My question is, you've shared with us clearly some of your spiritual connections within Judaism and also outside of it. Particularly as an elected official, what do you see as the proper place of faith within the public sphere?
So I'm actually one of those Democrats who really believes that we should not shrink from telling the public what we're about. Now I hate what goes on, and I shouldn't use that strong of a word, but it distresses me that in this time for election, everybody's trying to out-religious the other person, and proclamations of Christian proclamations become so painfully pandering that it's disappointing. So I'm just a big believer in my personal journey, and I haven't figured this all out. I'm mayor of a city, but I'm not a United States senator, I'm not governor, I'm not at the upper echelons. Really, I often tell my friends, my life will be an experiment with my own truth. See if it sustains me, takes me on to another office, we'll see. But I want to do as much as possible, not yield from who I truly am. So I will not, I bring my faith with me, and I don't make any bones about it. Very Orthodox Christians might have problems with what I believe, but I still talk about my faith. I've studied in ashrams in Hinduism. I've studied with this Meshuggah rabbi in Oxford. So I